Google actually just announced something called Assistant with Bard, which is a personal assistant powered by AI. And this is basically an AI assistant that will act as a personalized helper across Google apps like Gmail and Docs. So like, for instance, you could ask it things like, help me catch up on important emails from last week in Gmail, or where's the birthday party I'm attending today? And, it can look at your calendar and your emails to help you leverage information across Google apps and do valuable tasks with that information and make your life easier. According to Google, quote, it combines Bard's generative and reasoning capabilities with Assistant's personalized help. You can interact with it through text, voice, or images, and it can even help take actions for you. Google says this will be rolling out on Android and iOS in the coming months. So, Paul, this actually seems like a pretty significant update from Google. Could you kind of give us a sense of its importance and put that into context with what Google's released AI-wise in the past?
Yeah, it just seems like the obvious next iteration. We've talked many times about like if Siri just became what Siri was supposed to be, like this is basically it. That I think we're moving into this phase. And again, 2024 is probably going to be the year where these personal assistants, and in these cases, like voice assistants like Alexa and Siri and Google Assistant, that basically people use to get the weather and maybe some sports scores and like ask some basic questions. But they really seem like they've struggled to ever move beyond just that basic answering. This appears to be a prelude to a truly valuable personal assistant that is connected to all this data, and you can ask questions of it and it can help you do things and eventually take actions on your behalf. And so, we talked about a couple weeks ago, I think it was Ajax maybe is what the rumor is that Apple's building like their next, which I assume is a multimodal model of some sort. Gemini from Google would make this even smarter. Bard right now, I think, is based on what Palm 2. And so the general experience so far with Bard is like it's just not that good, but I assume the next version will be much better. And so, if you think forward 3, 6, 12 months from now, and all of a sudden we have Siri and Google Assistant and Alexa that are all truly conversational agents and able to, see and hear and speak and like all these things like that, that's where we start to actually see behavior change, like consumption of information, how you take actions. So, we look out into next year and you assume other models will do the same thing, other companies will do the same thing. I think that's really, it's a precursor to it. And just like we were talking about with GPT-4V, the vision, I think you can start to see what's going to be possible with this kind of technology. And, if it does what it's potentially able to do, it's transformative stuff.
So we're saying we might be looking at a pretty near future where every one of us has one or more AI assistants essentially doing things for us and acting on our behalf.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to the question earlier of like, do you have a single like horizontal model? Like, do you just have OpenAI, ChatGPT Enterprise, and it just does everything? And now I don't need AI writing tools, and I don't need analytics tools. Like, it just basically I just use ChatGPT for everything. And I think the same question comes here. It's like, is Siri just going to be trained to do everything? Like, is it going to become my life coach, my business coach, my athletic trainer? Like, am I going to be able to just interact with Siri and it's just going to be this almost infinite storehouse of knowledge and capabilities? Or am I going to have Siri for like the stuff that's on my device, and I'm going to have Inflection Pi for my life stuff that I'm dealing with? Like, that's the part that everyone's trying to figure out is like, are we going to have multiple language models in our company? Are we going to have multiple personal assistants that specialize in stuff? And that's that horizontal versus vertical discussion is like, we don't know. Like, I haven't read anything yet that seems to confidently state how this plays out, because I think we just don't know yet how good these foundational models are going to be. So that's again, when I look forward to next year, one of the things I'm really curious about is how powerful do these models become, and how much other software am I going to need if they're really good at, the whole premise of like AGI, artificial general intelligence, is being like human level or beyond at most cognitive tasks. If you can build single models that start approaching that ideal, that it's pretty much at human level and anything I want it to do, then what other software do I need? And I don't know, like, again, the best AI researchers in the world don't really seem to know the answers to that yet.
Right.
So you as a listener, as a business person, as a, a leader, a practitioner, like, you're not expected to know this either. But I think it's something to pay close attention to.
So yeah, talk to me a little bit more about that. As a marketer or a business leader, obviously there's this bigger picture here, but what are some short-term questions or considerations I should be thinking through in the next, say, 3 to 6 months?
You need to, I mean, education is key. Like we always talk about education and training. Like you have to stay on top of this stuff because it is moving pretty quickly. But I think you have to build dynamic roadmaps internally for AI. Like don't make 2-year bets. Like if you're looking at
Mm,
tech, think about, 3, 6, 12 months out. So if you're looking at, building it, like let's just say AI writing tool. You're thinking about marketing and sales service. We want to go get an AI writing tool or a language model company to help with all these use cases in marketing and social media and email and blog post writing and website development and logo design and like all these things. Look out and say, okay, like best tech today is this, but we know that that's likely changing in 6 months. So
mhm,
let's solve for it today. We're not going to wait 6 months to do this. Let's start doing this, but let's assign a couple people whose job is partially to stay on top of where these models go and constantly be checking to make sure that there isn't new technology, new capabilities we're not aware of. But I mean, I really think that if you just take ChatGPT Plus and really focus energy on understanding all of its capabilities and use cases and just take
mhm.
advantage of that, especially for small and mid-sized businesses, like that's probably enough. Like you can do a lot of stuff with that and then mix in some of the new tech we're going to talk about in a minute from some other companies that you may already have in your tech stack. And all of a sudden you don't got to go finding a bunch of AI companies. You're just better leveraging the tech you already have and using some of the AI capabilities they're introducing.